Netanyahu gave a speech today talking about how they will make the return. He said, "We will make the return of the Messiah come true, but it will not happen next Thursday." The Messiah. So this is pretty interesting. It's in Hebrew, but there's a speaker translating it as Netanyahu's talking. Take a listen to this.
And I believe we all recognize the fact that we will reach to the kingdom. We will make it to the return of the Messiah, but this will not happen next Thursday. The lives of nations is always precarious and surrounded with threats. Our survival, our endurance is a result of alliances that we forge for our existence to be stronger. No doubt we are moving from one battle to another, from the establishment and with this battle now, with this operation, Israel has become stronger than ever.
Stronger than ever. We will make it to the return of the Messiah, but this will not happen next Thursday. I guess that's their way of saying their way of saying that they're just going to make it forever. They're going to last forever because in their religion they believe that the Messiah will come and he'll rule the world. So he's basically stating Israel is going to last forever. I think that's kind of what he's implying there. Pretty odd thing to say. And he goes on further and he talks about how the war in Iran is going to be turning Israel into a global superpower. So he also stated, and somebody's asking, when was this video released? This video was released today, actually. It's part of a longer news segment he gave in Israeli I-24. So here's another clip of it where he says that the war in Iran is turning Israel into a global superpower. It's called Operation Epic Fury for the United States. Theirs is Operation Roaring Lion. It seems like it's kind of analogous with each other. So take a listen here. Let me go ahead and play it for you guys.
Historic days. Citizens of Israel, my brothers and sisters, we are in historic days, days that will be written in the annals of Israel. In Operation Roaring Lion, our roar is going and intensifying. We are pummeling the Islamic regime in Tehran. We are pummeling its emissaries, Hezbollah in Lebanon. There's unprecedented coordination between Israel and the U.S. and achieved substantial achievements that are changing the reality in the West Bank, in the Middle East and beyond. These achievements are increasing the status of Israel as a superpower more than ever. Through our power in opposition to the power of our enemies, this is what is ensuring our survival.
Interesting.
Our threats come and go, but when we become a regional superpower, and in many respects a global superpower, we have the power to push away threats and ensure our future.
And in many respects, a global superpower. So he started saying regional, and then he went even further, and he said global superpower. Let's see, I thought I had something saved here I wanted to show you guys from Scott Horton. He mentioned something regarding this, and he basically said, which everybody kind of knows, that this is ridiculous because if you cut off Israel, then Israel is nothing but without the United States. So maybe he posted he tweets pretty often, so it already probably passed. But that's really basically it. If you cut off Israel, Israel is nothing. Israel is everything. Israel is as powerful as it can be insofar as it's an extension of the United States. And the second the United States is not part of that anymore, well, it's no longer the same thing. So let's see here. I just passed some of it. So let's see. He stated, bow down before the one you serve. He's making a joke here, and he stated, Israel's not only totally diminished, but the whole war, according to my forthcoming interview, was actually all about ensuring Israel got access to Iran's oil almost for free. Interesting. I thought he posted more, but anyways, so this is kind of what the psycho believes. He thinks that the goal here is to eventually become a global superpower and wait for the Messiah to return. Now, I'm going to be honest. I'm a religious. I'm pretty honest with that. I believe in God, and that's kind of where I stop there. I don't really. Anyways, but aside from that, it's been pretty interesting, especially recently. I'm going to be honest. It's been even more interesting the past 6 months, seeing everything going on And while I'm seeing the amount of Israelis that keep posting unhinged videos about the third temple being built, this obsession with destroying the Al-Aqsa Mosque and building the third temple for the end times to begin. And not just with Jewish Zionists, but then also with evangelical Christians. This obsession, it's like they're trying to speed run the end times. Listen, I love heaven just as much as the next person. I really do. I love heaven as much as the next person. I don't want to speed run it. Can I enjoy it? Can I wait till I'm in my 80s, 90s? Like I'd like to wait a bit. There's no point to speed run it. It's okay. It's okay. We don't need to rush things. We can wait a little bit. But there's this obsession that I find so odd with the Messiah, with bringing about the end times. Can we just not enjoy? Can we just not enjoy? Can I go get ice cream? Can I enjoy being alive for a little bit before these people are trying to speed run the death of everybody else? I don't need Armageddon to begin tomorrow. But they genuinely, legitimately believe in this. And it drives me wild that Middle East foreign policy, the lives of millions of people, is being dictated on them wanting to speed run the end times. It stresses me out a little bit. And, I would say that it's okay if it was just some unhinged people without any power. The issue here is that they are in power. It's the entire Likud party. The people that are in power in Israel, the people that are in power in the United States believe it, and they're acting according to these beliefs. And when you act according to these sort of beliefs, well, you open a can of worms because things get really, really bad and very worrisome. And it seems like that's kind of what's going on here. Scott Horton, bow down before the one you serve, is really kind of exactly what's going on. I actually, I'm going to reach out to Scott soon and see if he wants to join. I was looking for his post, the rest of his posts regarding this, but I'm not going to. Let's see. Here we go. This is detached from any semblance of reality. Characterization of Israel as a regional hegemon, let alone a global superpower, are unfounded. Israel's endeavors are underwritten by American political, economic, and military prowess. Behind every Israeli action is the tactic, often explicit guarantee of an absolute American rescue. Without this guarantee, Israeli power projection would be considerably constrained. The special relationship insulates Israel from the costs of its policies. It allows Israel to act with impunity by shielding them politically, economically, and militarily. This support emboldens them. Washington disincentivizes Israel to find a stable equilibrium between itself, the Palestinians, and its regional neighbors. Why compromise when the United States support you unconditionally, even when you go against U.S. policy objectives? Israel knows the United States will ultimately shoulder the costs. Nothing the United States receives from Israel justifies the profound negative consequences of the special relationship. I mean, I don't think you could say it any better than this guy just did. It pretty much sums it up. Israel couldn't do what it does without the special relationship with the United States. Cut it off. Cut it off. We're done. We don't need it anymore. This is what I'm going to say. And, Israel really does control so much of the United States now. Zionism controls so much of the United States. They've really worked so hard to get into every single facet of the U.S. government, from the Pentagon to Congress, all over the place. So Israel's a country. It's separate from the United States, but at the same time, at the very top, the lines between the United States and Israel look very blurred. And separate from that, Israel, people will say, and I always criticize people that say that Israel is just simply an extension of the American empire. We hear a lot of people say that, and it irritates me because they try to take the blame away from Israel and put it on the United States when they say that. Typically, this comes a little bit more from people that are, they like to be more politically correct. And they're scared of saying that Israel is actually, in a way, largely influencing and steering the United States, because they believe that when they say that, well, it's politically incorrect. And by what they're actually getting at is they're hinting at Jewish influence. And that's a taboo subject, and they don't want to be considered anti-Semitic. So they'd rather blame it on the U.S. because it's easier to blame the U.S. than it is to blame Israel because of that. But the truth of the matter is that Israel really does control much of the United States. If you don't like the word control, we can say heavily influence the direction of where the United States goes. That's fact. And if it wasn't for that, then we would have cut Israel off a long time ago, because ultimately, if Americans actually, if the American government actually put its interests first, then this relationship with Israel would have been cut a long time ago. It's not beneficial to the United States. So why on earth would a country act in a way that's not beneficial to its interests if it wasn't controlled by that country? Unless it's ran by a bunch of idiots, which is also true. So now we're in this situation, and how do we do it? Because I say Israel is not an extension of the American empire, but in a way it also is. It's an extension of the American empire that's now controlled the empire. It's kind of like it's almost like a cancer now. So it's in your body, it's part of your body, it's from your bloodline, it's part of your cells, but the cells went haywire. That's what Israel is. It's almost a vassal state that lost its way, and now it controls the host and it's killing the hosts. That's what Israel is. So now we're in a situation where ultimately the fall of Israel is going to align directly with the fall of the American empire because they're one and the same. And that doesn't mean to say that I want to watch the American empire collapse, but they're one and the same now because Israel's made it that way. Here's the thing, though. There's a difference between an American empire and the country of America. I think the better word is shedding your empire. Countries shed their empires. Spain shed its empire when it became too expensive. The United Kingdom shed its empire when it became too expensive. America needs to shed its empire and focus on itself. All the money that we use on the empire, eventually it's going to shed. We're going to have to shed it. It's happening because it's becoming too expensive. And we could have had the American empire for a lot longer. I'd say probably another 100 years if we didn't spend so much of its time fighting Israel's wars in the Middle East. Because those wars alone probably added, when you combine everything, and not just the cost of the war and the interests included on that, 20 trillion really, the U.S. economy would be at a much different place, and diplomatically, we'd be at a much different place with a lot better relationships with the vast majority of the world because we wouldn't be isolating ourselves, backing Israel, vetoing every legislation against Israel at the United Nations. We would have been at a much stronger place. Countries wouldn't have been wanting to form things like BRICS if we were sanctioning and alienating and bombing the rest of the Middle East and making it easier for countries to want to realign away from the United States. So U.S. special relationship with Israel is directly related to the fact that ultimately this special relationship is pulling us down a lot quicker than we needed to go. That's just the ultimate truth of it all. I hope it falls in my lifetime. Israel. I hope Israel falls in my lifetime. At this point, I'm pro self-determination. I want the best for all people. I don't want innocent people to die. The country of Israel is a threat to the United States. It's a direct threat to the United States. If you don't recognize that it's a threat to the United States, well, I don't know what to tell you then. You're too brainwashed because it's taken advantage of the United States to the point that it's dragging us down. What is a bigger threat to a country than a foreign influence dragging you into unnecessary wars? What is a bigger threat than that? What's a bigger threat than that? You tell me. So anyways, guys, that's it for this video. If you found it interesting, I'd appreciate it if you click the subscribe button below and give it a thumbs up as well. It helps me reach more people like you. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video. Take care and have a great day.